Welcome to a special edition of Unlearning, Unlocking, Unleashing, a podcast series that attempts to dive deep into various experiences of unlearning conventions, unlocking potential, and unleashing transformation. This podcast is brought to you by Audacity, an innovators playground located in Jurong Innovation District, Singapore's upcoming innovation hub. The three U's, unlearning, unlocking, and unleashing, is the philosophical backbone of the Audacity culture. Through this series, we will be speaking to friends and members of the Audacity community. Our conversations hope to uncover what the three U's mean to them, hear about their inspirational examples, and learn from reflections of their personal experiences of what it means to be an innovator.
Hi, I'm Jen from Project Flourish.
And I'm Colin, your co-host for today. Moonshot Permacolony is a multi-year startup program. The mission to build permacolonies kicked off with a global call for startups in November 2020.
The program is for startups that recognize the importance of scalable impact and longevity. This year, we will focus on nurturing Singapore-based startups that are looking to realize their Moonshot idea for a more sustainable, livable, and livable society.
From October 15 to 30th, founders and teams have access to notable mentors, investors, and seasoned entrepreneurs. This year's hybrid program also includes in-person activities at Audacity's Playground for Innovators in Jurong Innovation District.
For more details of the program, check out the link in our caption, so do sign up soon. Hi, Chu Xian. So how have you been since last year?
Super busy, but busy is good.
Yeah. Maybe in a nutshell, you can explain your technology to the viewers.
So I think to summarize it, what we do is we have this technology which can recycle plastic waste into a new material to build roads, such that to create a more sustainable construction sector as well, because we're using more sustainable material.
What drove you to do this and think about this?
I think there are actually two main factors. The first one is influence from my family, because my family is in the road construction business. So I think it was always there, for me to join some part of construction. But I think I wanted to continue this form of legacy in a more sustainable and more innovative way. So hence I decided to join more on the research project, and this was one of it, looking for sustainable and alternative materials, because I think construction is one of the most pollutive and most environmentally harmful sectors, and it's not being given enough attention. Yeah, so I think that is something that is worth looking into. So when I was put on this project for alternative material, we saw different ones, such as incineration bottom ash, which is currently being used to landfill Semakau, and also plastic waste. So we decided to use plastic waste to focus on plastic waste. I think because plastic waste itself is creating harm worldwide, like in every single corner of the world. I mean, I think I read reports about you can even find plastic in the deepest trenches of the waters, and even in the Antarctic. So it's quite amazing how prevalent it has become, this pollution. So we decided to focus on that. So it's two main factors. One was trying to solve this huge problem that has been unsolvable for the longest time, and the second one was influence from my family.
Right. What was the largest pushback or challenge that you had to overcome when you were just starting out?
Waste management and construction are two very matured, very conservative industries. And so I think that was one of the biggest challenges, getting people to change their mindset with regards to the type of materials that can be used, or even change their perspective on and try out new ways of doing things. Yeah, so I think that was one of the biggest and most fundamental problems that we face, convincing different partners and even the industry itself that there might be a better and more sustainable way to do things. So basically, we created another prototype generation, like another iteration of plastic waste recycling technology. So basically, we had Gen 1 and 2 out by 2020. And so Gen 2, the latest one then, could actually recycle all types of plastic waste, which really it's a feat on its own. Because right now, all the current recycling technologies can only recycle one type or two types. So for us, we can actually recycle everything together. But the thing is that they still had to be clean. And I think that was quite a big issue when it comes to commercialization, because it means that manpower cost is high, labor is intensive, and also the cleaning part as well is also expensive. So I think we continue working on it. So after further R&D, couple of months back in 2021, early 2021, we actually created iteration 3, so Gen 3 prototype. And we were able to recycle all types of plastic waste that were contaminated and mixed. Yeah. So I think that was really a breakthrough for us, and we are super happy with where we are. So we are looking to commercialize this iteration of it.
Cool.
That was an intentional attempt to use contaminated plastics, or did you all stumble upon that?
No, it was definitely intentional, but I think if you're talking about stumbling upon, it would be stumbling upon plastic waste as an alternative material. But I think iteration 1 and 2, even though it works, plastic waste, certain kind of plastic waste can be used into road, it wasn't viable as a commercial technology. It is too expensive. It was fighting with the current demand for clean plastic. So it doesn't make sense, because it would just drive prices higher for all this clean plastic anyway. Yeah, so it didn't make sense to us then.
Okay. When you joined Permacolony last year, what stage were you at with Magorium?
I was at a stage whereby we were at generation 2. We were happy that we were able to recycle all types of plastic. Yeah. So we're very happy we were able to recycle all types of plastic. But I think, that was actually the version that I wanted to commercialize. But as we tried, working on commercializing it, we realized the different problems that coming up. How are we going to clean it effectively and efficiently, because it still had to be clean anyway. So I think we decided to do further R&D, even though we had put down 2 pilot routes. For Gen 2. Right.
Okay. I know it's been a year. If I could ask you to reflect back on Moonshot Permacolony in 2020, could you share with us how your experience was like?
I remember it being a very, very intense week. It was a very intense program. And there were meetings every morning and evening, ensuring that, we set goals, even if the goals were crazy and it sounded like so much to do, sharing whether we reach our goals the next day or not. But I think that really pushed us way past our limits in thinking, we are only able to sign one MOU, within the week, but we would need to share what have we achieved the next day. And given that few hours, we would push to set crazy goals, like sign 5 MOUs. How are we going to do that?
Wow.
But I think once you have that on paper, you really don't think it's crazy anymore, but you just start not thinking that it's a crazy idea, but you start thinking of how are we going to do it. So I think even though the program was intensive, it really pushed us all way beyond what we actually thought that we were able to do.
Yeah, Edric said the same thing. He said intense.
Yeah, intense it was.
Yeah, you only had 100 hours, right, to kind of set goals and achieve them. So.
And I think the whole sharing part every morning and every evening really helped, because that every founder out there, is doing their best to try to strive to kind of achieve their goals. So when you share, there's a certain accountability as well, that you do want to kind of try to reach as much of the goal that you have set as possible. So I think it also really helped that it brought together this group of super dedicated people. I think there was a group in Kenya or somewhere in Europe who actually didn't sleep for those 100 hours. Yeah.
Wula,
so
I believe.
Yeah. So it's just pretty amazing. And also it's people like that, then when you do sharing sessions with all these founders, there's certain kind of accountability there that helps you push yourself beyond the tiredness, or what you thought you were capable of.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you make any friends during the program?
Definitely. I did. I think Sean, one of them, from IFT.
Mm.
So he does, interesting kind of insect food ways of feeding insects to try to promote a circular economy. And I think other than that, we met people from all over the world, different founders, and I think we spoke and we shared. There were quite a few sessions, like a one-to-one, sharing what we do, the different cultures and the different startup environment in our own countries. We got to learn a lot about what the startup culture is like, not just in Singapore itself, because I remember Singaporeans being the minority within the whole cohort as well. So it was really interesting to learn how the startup culture environment was for all the different founders out there.
Right. Yeah, this year we're actually focusing on Singapore-based startups. So we're really excited,
Okay.
to see, if last year's version, based on experiences that you guys are sharing, would be beneficial as well as enriching or interesting for, startup space in Singapore. Given being, a Singaporean and you being in the startup space in Singapore, what are the things you think would attract startups in Singapore to join Permacolony?
I think definitely the support that Permacolony can give, because you get to meet all these different mentors who are experts in their own field, and the things that they can share and the lessons that we learn from them are actually hacks to kind of propel a startup faster and higher. So I think this kind of support that and also how tailored and custom the entire program was, everything was relevant, even up till the strategies and methods for, and even I think one of the most important one was building a resilient team, how to build a resilient and more effective team. Yeah, I think there were quite a few programs on that. And also we got a chance to ask any question that we want to all these mentors, which I think is very valuable because their time is super precious. They are from all over the world. It's always very difficult to mesh timelines, and they actually stayed up and worked on Singapore timelines for us.
Wow.
So I think I was very, very grateful for that. Yeah.
Great, yeah.
You were well on your way into this startup last year. Even last year, if I remember correctly, this is a 7-year journey of sorts, right?
For the research, but the startup was actually currently it's only not even 2 years old, maybe almost.
Okay.
Yeah, you feel that I have been doing this for 7 years, but it was really a lot on it was very technical, trying to get things right, working with external and internal researchers, doing a lot of testing, a lot of it was very technical. But I think when it comes to startup, like I mentioned before, building teams and things like that, I actually don't have much experience in it. Yeah, so I think startup wise, I was actually on equal ground with all the other founders. Yeah, so I definitely was very excited to join.
Yeah, it's like having all that knowledge, but then don't know how to apply it, right? Because it's completely different process and experience and stuff like that.
And honestly, I think the crazier the idea, the more difficult it would be to focus on building a startup, like fundamentally, because you're so focused on trying to bring your crazy idea to life that so you kind of lose focus. And I think this is how crazy idea startups kind of tend to have lower success statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Permacolony, one of the words that was always used was Moonshot. Moonshot. So I think it was very, very relevant to my technology and trying to kind of get it off the ground.
Crazy. Roads made out of plastic, right? Plastic that is rejected by recycling companies because they're contaminated. And you have, I think, improved efficiency of plastic recycling in Singapore. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Thank you.
You mentioned the community and probably the mentors that supported you during your journey. Any notable ones you could talk about, and if you're still in contact with any of them?
I think one of them, I'm not in contact with the mentors anymore, but I think one of them was the mentor who actually gave the team building workshop. Yeah, I think because on my end, everyone else in my team is older than than myself. Everyone has technical operational experience. They're all on their way to 40s, 50s, and even 60s. So it was very difficult to manage a team like that. Given that I'm the founder, everyone will think that everyone has a different direction, has a different goal. The technical people want to get there faster. The people who bring on projects, want to do it faster than the technical people can do. So I think what really helped during this workshop is trying to strike a balance and trying to manage the different expectations from the different team members.
Yeah, team building was one of, I think we also recognize it as a very important component of startup building. So we are looking forward to bring in workshops or content on team building this year as well.
I think it's really great that you guys are focusing more on Singapore startups. I think because during COVID, people cannot actually physically be here, but I think one of the more regretful things was not being able to mingle and interact face to face. So I think that's really, really important. So I think having a more Singapore focused program for now will actually help when people can interact face to face. I think that the connection will build and the bonds will actually be better.
Yeah, we were so looking forward to that. One of the feedback from the community was most of the people are overseas and we don't get to really interact them on a personal level because there's only 100 hours and everyone's just trying to, meet their goals and objectives. There was a lack of sense of like community building. Even though it was there was like the casual community building where you actually really truly form relationships, right, and friendships. So it's understandable that there's not enough time for that. We're looking forward to invite some of the same mentors and speakers back this year as well. And I think even if you're available to share some of your experiences with startups that are just starting out, sometimes hearing experiences from people who are just starting out like yourself could be more valuable than people who have already gone through the whole road, right? Because then they might still be dependent on old ways of thinking, whereas you've been there just recently and maybe more relatable in a sense. I have two more questions. One is related to the Audacity philosophy of unlearning, unlocking, and unleashing. Which of the three words speak out most to you, and could you give an example of what it meant to you in your startup journey?
Okay. For the first one, I would say that the word that speaks out most to me throughout the Permacolony 100 hours would be unleashing. Unleashing, because I think, like I mentioned before, we were all pushed past our comfortable zone of our pace of doing things because we all only had this 100 hours to accomplish the crazy. So I think once we kind of reframe our mindset to not think that how difficult this is, but rather how we're going to get this done, I think it came to unleashing like the full potential and trying to achieve whatever that we set out to do. So definitely unleashing during this 100 hours.
Cool. You might be happy to know that this time we have 400 hours.
400! Wow!
Yeah.
Physical.
Mix of physical and online, yeah.
Wow! Well, that's going to be really, really...
I mean, not exactly 400 hours. We just calculated 14 days times 24 hours. So
it's definitely going to be fun.
Yeah, I think
it's definitely going to be fun and productive.
Yeah, I think last year was 100 hours because we also had to meet Slingshot, and also because last year we partnered with Salto, and Salto's speciality or USP is that intense 100-hour kind of program, and it was more of like a challenge. But this year we don't want it to make it so challenging in the sense that it's a competition, but more of like how a mutual community style workshop or environment can help support one another. So more Audacity style kind of support lah. Yeah.
Oh, so it will not be partnered with Salto?
Yeah, it will be an independently run program, but we still have our global network of partners whom we're reaching out to. Yeah.
Okay.
Our second question is, what would be a message that you would like to share with other startups who could see a potential and benefit from a Moonshot Permacolony experience?
Yeah, the message to future or potential startups who might want to join. If you're serious about making the world a better place with whatever ideas or crazy innovations that you have, even if it's just in your head, joining Permacolony will help you or kind of bring all these ideas to life, or even kind of drive whatever that you already have to higher heights, to greater heights.
Okay.
And I think one of the keywords that I took away from Edric was validation, right? I think maybe Permacolony would help to boost the confidence and validate their ideas, even if they think it's a bit crazy, right? And I think a lot of the reasons why people don't join is because maybe they think their ideas are too crazy. But yeah, I think that was a great answer.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for having me on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
Thanks
thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
your
so much, Chu
time.
Xian.
Take care.
Bye. You too.
Moonshot Permacolony is a multi-year startup program. The mission to build permacolonies kicked off with a global call for startups in November 2020.
The program is for startups that recognize the importance of scalable impact and longevity. This year, we will focus on nurturing Singapore-based startups that are looking to realize their Moonshot idea for a more sustainable, livable, and livable society.
From October 15 to 30th, founders and teams have access to notable mentors, investors, and seasoned entrepreneurs. This year's hybrid program also includes in-person activities at Audacity's Playground for Innovators in Jurong Innovation District.
For more details of the program, check out the link in our caption, so do sign up soon.